Hi, Demonic Angel, and I figured I'll try to get in another video before I go back to studying again for the day. So I briefly I guess I say that a lot, but okay. I want to talk about the benefits of mental illness. Everybody is saying, I'm depressed. You know, there's depression, bipolar anxiety. And these are all problems that they don't serve a function. They're just there to hinder a person. Some of the things that come to mind are, you know, depressed people commit suicide, anxious people, you know, they're not present in the moment because they're focused on anxiety. Schizophrenic people, you know, they're hallucinating. So it's just a shame that people are crazy. That's kind of the common, I would say, the collective unconscious thought here. However, these things exist. The truth is that they exist in the human race for a reason. And that reason is that they have many benefits. And, you know, I'm not downplaying. You know, if you have a problem, you go to your doctor and you work because, you know, with that, because the goal is to function. And that is really true. And there are, of course, a lot of horrible downsides to mental illness. However, depressed people, you know, especially with seasonal depression, they back in the day when we didn't really have much to eat in the winter, people who just kind of sat around and didn't use much energy, if we think of depression in terms of low energy, they survived because they weren't out constantly burning off this energy. So the genetics of depression survive because of the advantageous survival aspect. So, you know, it's another way to look at it. It's just something I wanted to bring up, like, hey, this is really true. So now we don't live like this, right? We're not the old pagans that some of us dream about, that kind of romantic way. But like, we are, you know, that is still useful in the sense where, think about COVID-19. If you have a mindset that can be isolated and be okay, you're going to be a lot better. And depressed people oftentimes thrive more with some time alone. So now that we're all stuck indoors, the social people are going to have, the normal social people, if you will, they're going to have the most problems because they don't see things in this way. So you see what I'm saying in that sense, that it's really advantageous. Examples are like, okay, anxiety. I've probably had problems with all these except for schizophrenia, if you will. But anxiety is like, oh, you focus on something, you know, and that's just what you keep seeing. So you're not really present in the moment. However, that is, you know, focusing on these minute details of something. And when you really think about things over and over again, there can be this new perspective that emerges. For instance, with myself, you know, I have Asperger's syndrome. That is what I've been diagnosed as. I often explain things to myself in my mind that I don't suppose other, you know, people do. Like, they're really common sense things, but I have to explain them to myself, and think deeply. Like, I get really curious, I guess, where I'm like, well, why should we heat the oven to this exact temperature for this kind of thing? What happens if we do, I'm just a million questions. What happens if the temperature is different like this? And I really spend a lot of time explaining common sense to myself. However, that makes it so that I see some things that other people really don't. I might be a little bit eccentric, but I know who I am, and I trust my mind's search for answers. I'm not going to find the answer, but I have a lot of questions, and the more questions I have, the more I thrive, because life is about asking questions. So I just constantly am like that, and that's the benefit, because I see a different perspective, probably due to the mild autism, than other people see, and same thing with schizophrenia. We got John Nash, who really developed and brought forth game theory, which really has to do with economics. I mean, very brilliant man. And he was schizophrenic. There's the potential for these benefits. Now, I'm saying there's still the downside. But in all different cases that I'm saying, because of the mental illness, there is a potential to see things in a different perspective. That is its function. I mean, that's why it's around, It is here because it benefits us. It benefits us to think differently, to have a person be more emotional minded and another person be more logical. If we all thought the same, then it wouldn't really be so colorful and beautiful. So it really is that. Another thing is that, the smarter a person is, if they are mentally ill, the more likely that they can find a way to function and put that to use. So if a person unfortunately has a lot of mental problems, but they don't have a lot of intelligence, that can make it a little bit more of a struggle. Of course, growth is still growth, and growth is beautiful. But the way that this seems to really be beneficial is through people who have a high IQ, because they're babysitting, if you will, these different aspects of their mental illness. And they can pull that off and find a way to make it useful, find the silver lining. Just like another thing was that I've heard a lot of people say that psychics are really neurotic people, and it's technically it's a mental illness to be psychic, really. So, and I'm not sure what I exactly think about that, but I do think that it's interesting. I am, if example would be, I see myself in these dead people, in their energies, their thoughts, through these different ways, telepathic. I feel their feelings through my stomach. And, however, with connecting with people in real life closer to me is a little bit more of a challenge. So that's neurotic. I don't know these, deceased people. However, I care deeply about them, and I really do love them. And so that's a little bit crazy, if you will. However, I function, I do pay attention to my actual family and my life, and everything. And so that's just kind of how that is. By still paying attention and functioning, I'm not really worried about making a cure for myself so that I'm not crazy or whatever anymore. I'm trying to put it to use here on YouTube and stuff. That's what I'm really doing. So I'm sure that I'm probably a little bit crazy or in this way. And I have suffered the problems of it. Because I've had alcoholism for a lot of years. I did. And I've been sober for many years, but it's still, I just let the massive amount of emotional information I constantly get overwhelm me and just make the decisions for me. Now I feel them, I'm open to feelings, but I'm not, those don't make my life for me. So that's the difference, is I really had to learn, and I'm still learning different ways to make this more useful while keeping it alive, keeping it, fine-tuning this, while trying to still focus on the real world, which is more of my kind of a challenge. Because I really thrive in the astral and imagination realm, if you will. But this is, it's like I feel like I'm an alien or something. But we are all, we're all stars. We're all made of stardust, so I guess that's technically true. But I just wanted to put that out there. If you're struggling with mental illness, don't be afraid to get help. Don't be afraid, because what I'm saying is search for a way to find the benefit and that functional benefit, because it really is there. Some of the greatest inventions, best ideas, brilliant minds, these kinds of things, they exist in mentally ill people. So there's a lot of benefits. And I just wanted to throw that out there. Maybe you can see it a different way. I will see you guys later.